In today's episode of the Pathwing Presents podcast, I have an interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Mahdi Keyhani, and he's hailing over as a product manager or PM at RamSoft. Basically, they are in the area of real patient care management. It's a medical imaging solution that helps healthcare providers, basically, to help healthcare providers to serve their patients way better. And that obviously on a global scale. So today we want to deep dive into RamSoft, what it's all about, how Mahdi is thinking about the product, and also he's thinking about growth. So welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So Mahdi, maybe give us a quick overview. What is RamSoft all about in your own words?
Yeah, so as you explained, RamSoft is a medical software company that is specialized in radiology solutions. It's a well-established company. We basically founded in 1994. And what we have done so far is that we actually, around that time, developed one of the first web-based picture archiving and communication systems. And right now, RamSoft develops a full range of radiology solutions from DICOM routers, which basically send, receive medical images, to radiology information systems for a global market. And now, basically recently, we started releasing an enterprise level solution called Omega AI, which is going to provide a full web-based experience for medical imaging.
That gives us a very good idea. Obviously, we're talking about healthcare providers here. Maybe give us a little bit of a better idea what types of organizations fit best, like who's benefiting the most from a solution like RamSoft. Do they need to have a certain size, a certain amount of employees? What do you typically say is a great fit for RamSoft?
Yeah, I would say RamSoft have a very diverse group of customers because at one part of the scale, we have radiologist owned practices who have basically a couple of medical devices, and they need a software to basically connect things and create reports, and they basically provide diagnostic services. But this can scale up to multiple facilities, multiple devices, and even go up to like hospital level, healthcare system levels. And also, on the periphery of that, we have businesses like law firms. They need access to medical images for their legal cases. We can even have government or insurance entities, or even patients. Patients basically at this time and age require access to their medical records. They may want to share it with other healthcare providers. So yeah, that's a very diverse set of customers that we provide services for.
Very cool. And what would you say, how do these people that are working in these organizations, how do they learn about RamSoft? Like, what are the typical channels that you're leveraging? How do they find you guys? What role does the website play? Maybe tell me a little bit about the journey of how people are getting started with RamSoft.
Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting question, because on the surface, when we look at it, the customers basically find us by traditional methods like word of mouth, marketing campaigns, trade shows, social networks. That basically brings customers to know about the product. But I would argue that none of that would move forward in the process if we have this critical part, which is a long time, basically a long-term relationship with customers that is built over time. And I can explain you how, where my thinking is coming from, because healthcare is a very unique field, and this can apply to other sectors actually, because in healthcare, every business has their own workflow, and it's almost always unique. The reason for that is that there are regulatory requirements based on the region or the country we are talking about. There are business preferences, there are like traditions that they want to do things. So every business is different, the workflow is different. And another part of this puzzle is that when we are talking about adapting or getting a new solution or changing one of the softwares that you have, it's a very hard process, because you need to put all your workforce in retraining If it is a new solution, then you need to train everyone. The implementation phase requires a lot of time and effort. And in healthcare, it's disruptive because you cannot stop the workflow. Some of the practices basically work 24/7 days a week. So at the end of the day, what actually brings customers to the point that they want to go on with your solution is a strong sales team that works with customer to get to an understanding of what is their pain points, what's their requirements, and then based on that, craft a solution that actually address those points. And sometimes it's basically providing them to, like, introducing them to third-party vendors, saying that, you know, this part requires talking with these people, or saying that, you know, you can do these things better. So it's actually aligning or kind of becoming part of the customer's team. And then that's actually brings customers into the next level. So I would say, yeah, that's the main difference with like more like typical IT businesses and vendors.
Gotcha. And for new customers that are getting to know RamSoft, like, how do you think about the website? Like, what role does the website play for them in their decision making?
I would say it's a tool that provides a lot of services. At the top, it's information. Going back to my points about like the problems customer has, providing enough information about what aspects of the workflow we can help, what is the solution, what is the like kind of service that they should expect. You can actually use the website to provide a lot of those information. So that's one aspect of basically the use of the website. But it's also a front to showcase your innovation, your thinking, your vision. And these are things that are actually very important for healthcare businesses, because they want to get, when they are buying a software, it's usually not a subscription for a couple of months or a year. It's going to be always a long-term relationship. So they want to make sure that they feel that kind of trust with the vendor, so they can have that kind of long-term investment and relationship.
Very cool. Now, because you mentioned the customers, and obviously you personally, you've been in customer success for a while before you transitioned into product management. Maybe tell me a little bit about what do you think makes for a good transition? You know, what do you think helped you in transitioning from the customer success into the product market management side, but also maybe the benefits of being in a role like customer service or customer success prior, and then bringing that into the product? Like, how do you think about that?
Yeah, so the main thing that helped me in my transition, I would say, is getting to know customers better, because usually in the like development world and like the more toward engineering and software development, you don't have a lot of chances to actually have a face-to-face talk with a customer. And although my background is clinical, so I have a lot of like clinical experience, but that doesn't replace what you actually can get with dealing with customers day to day, seeing their pain points, helping them resolve issues. So that was a very good knowledge that I have now, because in the product world, you basically should have a good idea of what the products that you are designing and creating should basically provide things that help customers. So I feel like it's a complete match, because that I can bring that knowledge and use it in making things and making the products and software better and work better for customers. Yeah.
Very cool. I would like to switch gears a little bit and talk about your journey a little bit. So now being a product manager, there's so much content out there, right? There's a lot of books, there's a lot of resources on how to keep educating yourself as a PM. Like, where do you go? Like, what's your favorite resources? Where do you read? Where do you find good, educational insights for yourself?
A lot of resources. I can't point to one source. LinkedIn actually is a good point of getting information because usually people who are enthusiastic about the product, they usually talk about it, and you can get some interesting discussions when you actually start interacting with people. So that's the main. But the other source that I found very interesting is actually people who have a lot of experience and spend a lot of time in this work. So I try as much as possible to learn from my colleagues, especially more experienced ones. So yeah, I think both these work for me.
Very cool. To wrap it up, I just have some rapid fire questions for today. Are you ready for those?
Yeah, sure.
What is the last book that you read?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I'm right now reading the Gulag Archipelago from Solzhenitsyn.
It's a difficult title to say.
It's a long book, so I haven't completed it yet.
Very good. What's the one single thing that your company is focused on the most at the moment? So
Omega AI, basically, this is what we are focused on right now. It's the reason I think we are so obsessed with it is that we see a lot of potential. We see a lot of basically innovation that hasn't been used in the healthcare, like IT business, and we want to actually benefit from them, so we can put those bring values by adding those features to customers. Yeah.
And for the very last question, right? I'm very curious. If today would be your very first day joining RamSoft, what's the one advice you would give yourself for that journey with RamSoft?
So one thing that I would advise myself, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think I put a lot of effort into developing the perfect demo process when I joined earlier in my last position. And what I would do differently, and I still try to be an advocate for, is the importance of developing empathy and understanding of a customer before showing them the product and feature. So based on that, and the reason that I have this thinking is that you can show, like you can spend a lot of time showing customers what you can do, the features, everything. Yeah. But that basically make you rely on the customer to look into all the information you are providing and decide on themselves, research themselves, and find out if what you're basically showing them works for them. What I try to do right now that I basically advocate for here is that instead of that, we should start the discussion by customer, talking about their problems, what they are doing, what the more pain points are, where they are coming from, and how we can help them to be in a better position. So that would be the thing that I would advise myself if I would start the position at that time. Yeah.
Very cool. I appreciate you taking the time with us today to talk about RamSoft, to talk about your transition from customer success into product management, and also a little bit about growth for the company. So I want to give you the very last word. If somebody would be forgetting all that we discussed about RamSoft today, what's the one thing that people should remember?
Yeah, I think RamSoft is a company where employees actually feel pride in what they do, because we have this common understanding that what we are doing is to improve patients' lives through innovation. So the clinicians would spend more time doing things that they would do best, which is actually healthcare, providing care, talking with patients, instead of spending time with the software, typing information, dealing with issues and things like that. So this is like something that we try to do that perfectly every day. And I can't say we are perfect at it right now, but this is the path we are following.
Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathman Presents.
Thank you. Thanks.